Good afternoon, good evening, or good morning, depending on where you are tuning in from, and welcome to week number 8, day 15 of the Cyber Athlete Championship Series. My name is Interrobang, and I will be joined by the venerable MZO. For those of who are tuning in, you might hear my voice for the very first time. I have been fortunate enough to be offered a tryout here for CCS, and I hope you enjoy the broadcast today as much as I do. Tonight, we are going to have the away team of Dynamic, sitting at number 9, squaring off against the home team of Unbroken at number 12. And Emzo, what are we looking forward to in these matches?
Honestly, I'm looking forward to a map number 3 for the first time. This just has not happened so far, and that means a good balanced team. Some of these players we've talked about before during the last time are pretty good, experienced players that we've seen a lot from. Especially Alpaca, something me and Fluffy were talking about last time is Alpaca has been around for quite some time, and I expect good stuff out of him as well as Leveron.
For both these teams right now, you can see Dynamic's record is sitting at a 3-4. They inherited a record of 3-2 from Mystic when they jumped into the league. Since then, a loss to Nerva and a loss to Ferocity, now known as Bittersweet. So they're going to be looking for their very first win so far. And then for Unbroken, sitting at 1-6, their only win against Relentless, no longer a team, replaced by Omen in the standing. So they're going to look for win number 2.
Should be interesting to see.
So we'll look at this. We'll look at the standings here for you on the screen. You can see that in number 1, still undefeated, Bittersweet, and Core Impact, who will be playing later on the off stream, sitting at number 2. Any major movement over the last week here, Emzo, that you can see?
Let's see. I Santa Fe was on Ferocity before, unless that's someone else than Santa.fe. So I'm kind of curious how he ended up in this spot, because he is a good player for sure, especially on Ferocity. So I'm not sure how that happened, but it'd be interesting to see that play. He is someone that I used to kind of give him a bit of crap just because he was playing Glaz most of the time back when Glaz was OP. But now that people have kind of dropped Glaz, he's still playing really good, so I'm happy to see that. Should be interesting.
Wonderful. You can see down here, we will have Core and Paradox will be playing off stream. They are currently sitting at number 2 and number 3, and then another match later this evening will be Omen versus Vex. We're going to take a look here at Dynamic, who are going to be sitting, like I said, at number 9. Their roster is going to consist of Alpaca, who you spoke of earlier, having a long time in the scene here, joined by Incredible, Bonzi, Levron, and Rav. And a pretty consistent and stable roster for them at the moment. No major changes, and they're just going to look to avenge the 2 losses that they've had so far in the league.
I mean, I'm almost surprised 2 losses, but maybe they're just still figuring out their team dynamic, literally. So, I mean, hopefully I expect to see good things for them today, but we also have some other good people on the other team I'll mention after you bring up their roster.
And the thing, too, is that I know that I've spoken with both teams previously, and I know that they're prepared for this. Let's take a look at Unbroken here now. You can check them out on Twitter at unbroken_GG, and you're going to see some familiar names on there and a bit of changes that you touched upon, Emzo. You've got 9 and Mailman, who are the consistent members of the team, but the 3 at the bottom, Arrow, Santa, and Benji, the S in Arrows is actually silent. And I'll let you jump in here because you know a bit more about them than I do.
Yeah, Benji has been around for a while, well-known player. I believe he was on Hat last I saw. So I expect good things from him. I haven't always seen the performance I'd like to see out of him, but Santa, I think, has been a pretty consistent player. Not sure if that 9 is 9 line or not. If it is, that would be interesting. Someone else who'd been around for quite some time. So maybe it's not, but there's only so many names you can come up with in a apparently. So everyone just recycling them all. So what's up?
I was going to say it's the same 9 that played for Afflicted at one point. That was the last team that I saw him playing on behalf of, and he gets some. He told me earlier today that his name, while somewhat unique, he does get mistaken for N9NE and a variety of other things. So
yeah, maybe he can change it to 10. that will help. So I don't know. I expect good things, though, from both these teams. They both have at least a couple of standout players that I recognize. But team synergy is definitely a big factor in this game, because it's not like typical first-person like COD kind of shooter where you're all just going to run around shooting. You really need to coordinate and have communication down. And if these guys don't, then we'll see that.
And we can just as the bands are going up here now, we have Santa and Benji both joining. Like you said, Santa's joining from Ferocity and Benji from previously from Honor Among Thieves. This is essentially going to be their debut here. This is their first time playing for this team in a league, and it's going to be interesting to see. The first ban that we see going up is Unbroken will ban Skyscraper here. I had that's probably good news for Dynamic, because when I spoke with them earlier, they listed Skyscraper as probably their worst map. So I'm sure they're pleased to see that.
Yeah, it's not one that a lot of people want to play right now. I think there are still some issues with the map, maybe some sound issues, as well as I'm not sure if you can place barbed wire down on Geisha yet. It's definitely one that's riskier to play. I'd almost rather play Coastline at this point, just because Skyscraper has been kind of funky, but some of the Pro League teams have definitely really like felt it out and done some great stuff on it. So I wouldn't completely rule it out as a map worth playing, but it's not one that people are going to have a lot of strats for because so many teams ban it. And it kind of becomes a chicken and the egg problem. If everyone bans it, there's no point in you having a strat on it because you're not going to have to play it. And you only have so much time for strats. So Coastline and Skyscraper tend to get the shaft until they catch on, just the way Border did, basically.
I can tell you from my experience when I have played myself, I get a little tired of playing the same two sites on Skyscraper over and over again. It just ends up being that spam that you see upstairs on a karaoke and tea room. So we're just we're waiting on Dynamic actually to pick their second map here, or their first map rather, the second map to get banned between the two.
I mean, in some ways, it's not great to ban Skyscraper or Coastline so early, just because those are more likely ones that you want to save towards the end of the bans. But some teams like to ban the obvious stuff first to try and feel out what the other team's interested in banning. There's a little bit of psychology to it, but it is unreliable psychology. You can't really say like they're doing this for this very specific reason or not, because it's always kind of a little up in the air. But it does, to me, seem like they're probably just trying not to give a whole lot away just yet.
And for me, when I had spoken with Unbroken earlier, one of the word that was used by both teams today was adaptability, and I think that's going to be the narrative for both going forward. Is that because Unbroken is coming into this so new and so fresh as a team, they didn't really have any preferences for maps to play. And I know that Dynamic, playing with their core roster as long as they have their maps that they identify as being weak performances for them, and maps that they have as strong. So for Unbroken to take Skyscraper out, I wonder how much of their map bans are going to try to revolve around denying Dynamic their better performances, but they walked right into that by taking out one of Dynamic's weaker ones. And you can see their first ban from Dynamic and the second ban so far is going to go to Oregon. So that's both of Dynamic's bad maps that they've identified banned right there. So that should bode well for them.
It's surprising to be to have Oregon as a bad map. That's such a common map to play. That's one you'd think you'd include in your map pool. But if they don't have a huge map pool right now, I can kind of understand it. But I mean, banning one like that, unless you know that the other team's really good on it, to me says like, hey, if we're not that great at a very, very common map like that, they really need to work on their map pool, because they're probably going to get taken to Oregon at some point. And I hope that they're not instead including maps like Cafe in their map pool, which is a lot more unreliable and a bit more of a puggy kind of map.
I think I wonder how much of their performance against a more prepared team in terms of strategies against Dynamic is actually going to determine Unbroken's play on these maps. Now, I know I said earlier that they don't really have any defined strategies for any maps at the moment. If they're able to have like almost instant team chemistry on certain maps, they might just end up going with them, and not having Skyscraper and Oregon in there is going to be interesting. You see Unbroken's second map ban will be Consulate, so that rules Consulate out as well. Thoughts on a Consulate ban from Unbroken?
I personally am a big fan of seeing Consulate just because it can be a bit more dynamic than some other maps because of the way the realm play factors in, kind of like Bank. But at the same time, you know, if you don't have strats for it, it can be a bit more problematic because there are a lot of good angles and good use of vertical play that doesn't work so great sometimes if you're just kind of pugging it. But then seeing Chalet, that's more vertical play going out. Clubhouse getting banned too. This is all the standard maps. Like we're left with like things like Bank, Border, and Cafe, and even Coastline. It's definitely not the standard pool of maps here that we're seeing. So both teams seem to be maybe counter banning each other at this point in terms of like, hey, I know they're good at this map, or we're not as strong as we would like on this one, but not necessarily picking maps that normally should be in your map pool because of the fact that if you have a small map pool, you need to stick to ones like Clubhouse and Chalet and Oregon.
Right. And those were two very quick picks. Both Chalet and Clubhouse were selected almost instantaneously. Like they knew what they wanted to do. And we do see now that Dynamic still has two or has one more ban, and it looks like it'll be the final one for them.
I would imagine.
I wonder, what are you thinking? Coastline?
I would think so, unless they're really like, hey, we hate Bank or Cafe. Because Border is so commonly played now, everyone should have a strat for it. And there's been plenty of strats shown. So I wouldn't imagine either team would want to ban that. I think we're likely to see Border. Maybe Bank and Cafe as a decider. Hard to say. Like, Bank is another one that can be difficult. I'd rather take Consulate over Bank personally, but there goes Cafe. So we may end up seeing a Coastline.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, I was wondering about Cafe. Having spoken with a number of these teams over the last couple of days, it seems like Cafe is really just dreaded for people to play. And you were talking about verticality and stuff like that. Cafe is not seem to be enjoyed by a great wealth of these teams.
I'll be honest, I don't even enjoy watching it. I feel like it's kind of a trash map in a lot of ways. I mean, maybe I'm in the minority on that or not, but it's just not a map I enjoy.
Yeah. Now we're just waiting for Unbroken and Dynamic to make their last two picks, and then we will get started with game number 1 here. And yeah, so Bank, there you are. Bank is going to be map number 1.
I'm surprised they wouldn't go with Border first, as that's just a bit more standard than Bank. But maybe they're just trying to throw the other team off, hoping that the other team isn't as prepared for Bank to try and get on kind of a good early footing, or maybe that they know that the other team's going to pick Border anyways. So they want to start with the map that they're more interested in. Either way, like I said, the psychology is a bit of guesswork. You don't really know for sure unless you ask them.
Dynamic did identify as Border as one of their strongest maps. So, I mean, for Unbroken, if they feel particularly flat-footed on that, it would behoove them to try to push it towards the edge. And maybe if Unbroken's confident enough, if Border ends up being the tiebreaker and it's their worst map of the remaining 3, then hope to not have to roll the die on it. Because if it's one of Dynamic's stronger maps, which it tends to be, it's going to put an already disorganized team with no real strategies on any maps at a further disadvantage, playing against a team that is both organized and favors the play on Border. So it's more of a toss-up, I would say, for them than if they were to try to push it to the tiebreaker, and maybe they'd be able to win it in 2 games and not even have to play Border. But I'm assuming we're going to see Dynamic pick it next.
Well, let's see Coastline instead, because I never see a map 3. So I would love to see some Coastline action, see what if these guys have some interesting new meta for it, since we rarely see it. I would love for that to be pick number 2 and for Border to be relegated to a decider map like you were talking about.
Coastline has been an interesting emergence as it replaced Canal in that rotation that we saw. And as is tradition, Dynamic, or as is predicted, Dynamic will pick Border and Coastline will be the decider. So there we are. And you want to see Coastline. I would like to see a decider, just because, I mean, who doesn't want to see a team go all the way and play 3 matches?
Yeah, like I said, in all the weeks of doing this, I've been doing this since the beginning on CCS, I have yet to see a map 3.
Well, let's hope to break that.
Right?
Say, it'll be exciting here. So it looks like we're just going to get underway as they just.
Yeah, I believe we're starting with Bank, right?
Yes. Bank will be number 1, Border will be number 2, and the decider today will be Coastline. Unbroken selecting Bank as number 1, Dynamic selecting Border number 2. And yes, Coastline, if we break the trend of these being 2-0s, we will go to Coastline.
I would love to see some interesting strats on Bank as well. We tend to see, everyone play downstairs, mostly Teller after that. I would love to see some open area with the possibility of maybe round 1, someone experimenting with CEO if they've got a cool idea they want to try out, because that's when you want to try out like a weird idea is the first round. If you're the first defense in the first round and you've given nothing away yet, that's when you want to try out like a weird bomb site. But that one is a little risky, so probably not going to happen.
The real question for me that's going to emerge, and it'll be answered in the next half hour to 40 minutes of this first match, is with a brand new team of Unbroken, they're going to have, I guess, like the exoskeletons here of some form of strats. Surely they've got an outline of what they want to do. Is this going to be a scenario where they try their best to conform to the meta and run similar types of strategies that we've seen other teams run, or with this new roster, they're going to try to shake it up and run these zany, unconventional plays, as you mentioned, and take an opportunity to do that.
I think it'll be a little bit of a mix. I think both these teams saying that their adaptability is part of their strength makes me think that they're going to try some meta-ish stuff and then just start swapping out operators and ideas like on the fly, and like some of them will work, some of them won't. But we may not see a lot of repetition, which will be good. I hope we at least see operator tweaks every time, where they're just kind of experimenting and feeling stuff out on bank, since it's not like it's a brand new map. So now's the time to kind of try some tweaks and ideas, because you know to an extent how the other teams are going to play it. But there are some variables in play that aren't necessarily part of the meta that could come out from some of these teams. Like, for example, down in the downstairs of the basement itself, like on the CCTV room, attacking from garage, for example, is less common now, but that doesn't mean we couldn't see a team just kind of trying it.
Right. And I know that Dynamic, one of their most played operators, is Castle. And how he works his way into these sites is, it might just be from my perspective, but playing against teams of this caliber, we do see a Castle picked with somewhat frequency, at least in the basement of Bank. At least I have in the couple matches that I've watched, not in the pro leagues, but levels beneath it. And I wonder if Dynamic will be bringing the Castle pick out, because I know that he's almost always a staple.
Okay, well, it looks like they're going to need to go for a bathroom break here real quick, but we should get ready to get started soon. I imagine this should be at least interesting, if nothing else, between these two guys. I'm hoping the roam play will be good. Is what we watch a map like Consulate or Bank, what I hope to see is that some real dynamic roam play, some real clutch play from a roamer, like playing super far off site. Like, people try and do weird stuff like hide under the CEO desk and stuff like that. Those are very common spots, but there are ways to kind of juke around a bit and be set up, especially if you play a lot of castle. There are a lot of what we've seen of castles upstairs, where they will, even if the bomb site's all the way down at the bottom, they will castle up upstairs. Because the nice thing about castle is he comes with the castle barricades and impact nades usually, right, which gives you the ability to control map flow by setting up the castle barricades and then impact nading rotations.
And that gives him a lot of area to roam upstairs. We are now going to go live here. Bomb is going to be match number 1 for us. Or sorry, Bank is going to be match number 1, because Bomb is not a map that we play on. It's a type of game. And we're going to watch them pick their operators here. And pretty quick insta-locks for Dynamic.
Starting on staff open area, that is, again, not the meta. So this should be interesting to see how they're going to play this, because it's risky. It is a risky site to pick, because you're so open to the outside. You're open to all these hallways, the kitchen, the 2 hatches from above. Like, it's bad enough when you have to deal with 1 hatch, but having to do with two hatches above you, and then the open window right there into the back alley where they can spawn. Like, they could spawn practically in your bomb site. I think it's risky to play, but I really hope to see some interesting stuff for it.
I did want to touch just very briefly on why you see the IDK at the end of 9 and Arrow's names. They are, with the new additions, just touching very briefly on this, Unbroken is in the process of thinking up a new identity for the team, because they have overhauled their roster so significantly. So a bit of a mismatch of tags, but they will be still known as Unbroken, and we will be referring to them as such during the course of the broadcast. And Dynamic immediately picking the castle, as I said, one of their most picked operators on defense, and no surprise there.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what they're going to do with those windows. I mean, obviously having one facing the other window, it makes sense. It's a question of what's the second one going to be. Are they going to use it, say, for example, where Levron's at, to put a window into the archives, to have some idea over there, or maybe facing into the kitchen would probably be a smart idea on one of those walls. May even have 2 of them up. It's hard to say from this angle, but it should be interesting.
I was, upon speaking with Dynamic earlier today, they told me to don't be surprised if you see a roaming and aggressive Mira. So that's something to look out for as well.
Attackers dropped the diffuser. Attackers have recovered their diffuser.
Now we're in the first bit of action here. Benji pushes through back alley rooftop. And I need to just refresh the stream.
Ooh, there's a nice kill from Alpaca, though. That is an aggressive bandit play, though, because they know they want to control this room. They definitely need to stay controlling this room because of the hatches there. can make it a huge problem.
He looks for number 2 on 9 as they trade. He loses that fight as Alpaca will now push into the objective and fall himself now to Levron. And one thing with Alpaca that he did tell me was he plays a restrained but aggressive bandit. So don't expect to see him too far off site. Another kill. Levron will pick up a double. He takes Arrow down as he tries to enter in through that CE office window.
And that's why I mentioned Alpaca and Levron.
They a great hold for them now. They do sit up by 4-2. The Ash, Hibana, and Blackbeard picks already down at the moment. You'd see the double breachers. They still have a Thermite available who does carry the bomb for them at the moment. And only 1 lost on defense at the moment. So a 4-2 advantage in favor of Dynamic. And Bonsai will just hold that corner there and wait for the sledge pick of Santa to pop out. And we'll see who wins that gunfight.
Yeah, Santa already down to half health, and then Thermite to back him up. Never mind.
And right away, Bonsai does get it, and that leaves just that leaves only 1 remaining for Unbroken right now, and that's Mailman. He gets dropped by Bonsai, and that's 2 double kills in place of Dynamic. Both Levron and Bonsai carrying that round, and Dynamic will take it.
Not to mention Alpaca's early pick is a good way to screw up whatever strategy they might have. Honestly, I doubt they had a whole lot of strategy for that particular bomb site, as you saw them pretty much just pouring into stockroom. They didn't bother like taking the other side of the building, facing into the square skylight lobby or anything like that. They seem to just throw themselves at the really, really aggressive defenders, and it just tells me that they didn't really have much of a strat for it. And I feel like that's kind of what Dynamic were banking on there, and it paid off.
It's yeah, you saw what there was at least 3 of the defenders that tried to enter in through that trading room there. Blackbeard got picked off immediately as he pushed through that CEO office, and they all paid the price. And Dynamic proving that a good organization wins the day, and were able to get that. And they only lost 1, so at the moment only 1 kill for Unbroken as Dynamic holds a lead of 1-0, and they'll go downstairs and start their first defense now here for Unbroken.
So they're obviously going to go with a more traditional defensive site. Downstairs setting up with pretty much a standard setup. I mean, the Mira, not always really standard to this necessarily. I mean, because that's like a wall, for example, that Smoke's going to be playing on. But they're pretty much going to set up kind of the standard Santa Fe, getting the ADSs there so that they can stop nades coming in, stop the push from there. Smoke going to be, I hope he's not going to stay behind those servers, because that's generally a bad idea for a Smoke. If it's too aggressive, you can get pinched off. If they have a Capitao or grenades or anything like that, there's a good chance you can get just knocked out very, very early, and then your defense kind of falls apart from there. But they're taking lobby very aggressively. They want the floor above right away, not even going to bother with garage.
We might have first contact here between Benji and Alpaca as they sit, and they were droning it on cams, and there's a big kill there from Benji. He'll eliminate Alpaca just outside of the elevators on the first floor and look for a second, but can't get it as Levron avenges his teammate.
Definitely a close shot, though. You almost got the head there. But yeah, that's a very aggressive play. Santa Fe also wanting to play very aggressive. They're trying to copy what was aggressive with the other team, but against the Blackbeard, not going to happen.
Yeah, you're not going to peek at it. We see a coordinated breach there from the team of Dynamic as they now move inside here to the vault, and then there's a double kill for Dynamic as Rev and Incred. Incred's going to pick up another, and that is going to leave just 9 for Unbroken at the moment as he sits on site. It's a man against the world, and Rav gets another. And just like that, Unbroken will take the round. And they, yeah. I have my colors mixed up. I apologize.
Yeah, Dynamic definitely playing very strange. Both teams really doing weird stuff in terms of playing very aggressive defensive roams. And then the attack on Vault is very unconventional. You don't usually rush Vault, especially not dropping down the Blackbeard. It's always risky to drop Blackbeard down the hatch because he's exposing his body to the longest point possible, which is his weak spot. So them playing it very aggressive like that is not standard whatsoever. But it worked. I mean, it sucked to lose one guy in lobby. They probably should have pinched better from the loan office side as well. Maybe had a sledge go over there so that you can open up line of sights if they needed them to. But in the end, it worked out because they just played aggressively, and all the aggressive roams actually kind of screwed themselves over by not having anyone left on site.
And yeah, you saw the lone remaining member of Unbroken, which was 9, and it was just at that point they'd already taken the site, and you have to try to reclaim it. And as he scrambled to get into B, he was immediately punished by that. And They did a great job. They took that main lobby within 20 seconds of the second round, and they'd already flushed out one of the roamers with 45 seconds off the clock, which is a great and breathtaking speed for them, and the rest of the defense just crumpled after that.
Well, we're going to see how Dynamic defend it. We'll see if they're going to play some crazy aggressive roams, just like they did in their other defense. But so far, it's looking like 4 on site. This is way more of a standard defense, including the bringing of an echo and a smoke to try and stall out any kind of push. But then Alpaca, of course, just trying to abuse his bandit powers. Got to be peeking that spot. But it's worth it, though, as long as he doesn't get killed doing that. But he's going to get droned going upstairs, and now they're going to know he's up there. So I hope at the very least he's going to burn some of their time, not just get himself killed.
They will close in on the site here. Not as fast of a push at the moment for Unbroken inside, and yeah, Alpaca has, like I said, that reserved aggressiveness as he tries to stick relatively close to the site, but will wander off when he needs to. And so far, good gunplay from him as we approach the 2 minute to go mark.
Chances are they're probably going to leave Alpaca alive if he just kind of sticks it out right there, and that can be really critical once their push starts coming. Because you see them, they're looking like a standard push, taking control of the open area so they can blow the admin office hatch, start to push for servers. You even have Benji coming down here from the to attack the red side and potentially the B side, try and take out that smoke. And he looks like he's going to have an easy free shot, potentially soon.
Yeah, you can see all those outlines there of Leverin, Bonzi, and Incred as he's just inching his way up, and Benji's going to try to at least get 1 or 2 and put some joint pressure on them as Dynamic just sits patiently and waits as we hit the halfway mark through round number 3. All 10 operators still up at the moment, and we just watch as Dynamic plays a game of patience. They look like they will get the hatches upstairs, just outside of open area. Santa Fe will be closing in on him here now. If they've been able to drone him out, Santa Fe will now go downstairs, and they might, like you said, they might just ignore the roaming play of the bandit of Alpaca.
And they're going to. They're very focused on what they're doing. It's surprising that they're blowing the teletouch, though. I don't know if they're just trying to pretend that they're going to go for that vault drop, or they're actually going to do it.
Might just be to distract. You can see the yokai there. The first kill of the round will go to Rev as he drops 9 on the stairs, and that is
was the diffuser carrier too.
And that is now Male will need to pick up that diffuser. You can see Benji is still inside of garage here and hasn't really accomplished much at peak eliminating any of these members of Dynamic. We'll get one though right as the camera moves away. That's a nice headshot on Leverin on site. And Incred will drop Santa Fe with a headshot of his own. Now Benji will have to push towards the site with 30 seconds remaining. You can see Male does hold the bomb just outside, and we'll get a kill on Incred from the bottom floor elevators. He has a clear line of sight inside of B and will now move and get taken down himself by Rev. That's another big kill for the Jaeger of Dynamic, and that leaves just a Blackbeard and an Ash. And right as I say that, Benji gets another kill, this time dropping Rev after Rav having 2 big kills. And Alpaca sits on that diffuser, sees Benji go to grab it, and Alpaca gets his first kill of the round. And ignoring that roamer doesn't really work out for them as Bonsai finishes off the round. It takes out Arrow, and Dynamic will go up by a score of 3-0.
I liked what Benji was trying to do, but he was probably doing it with the wrong operator. Although I think he was trying to take advantage of being able to sneak in there quickly and quietly after. However, I think the critical flaw of that attack was sending in Male through the elevator hatch. You don't, first off, send it. I mean, the Thermite is a decent fragger now, but sending him in as a 2-speed, dropping down the hatch into an area where he's potentially trapped with the diffuser, with no backup other than Benji, just seemed like they were kind of asking to lose that. They pretty much gave that to Alpaca by, getting down right there, and then all of a sudden, okay, now the diffuser's in a spot where Benji's maybe the only person who can even get it. So that was, I think, a little too disjointed in terms of that push with the actual diffuser. And I think he wasn't supposed to be the diffuser carrier, probably, because the original diffuser carrier got killed.
It was ignoring the roamer came back to haunt them with only 20 seconds left, and when that push came in, all it took was Alpaca to sit over top of that hatch. That when you called the teller's hatch getting blown to see if they were going to do a hatch drop, all it really ended up doing in the end was giving Alpaca an opportunity to watch that diffuser and get back to site if he needed to, and ended up costing Unbroken the round as he eliminated Benji as Benji went to grab the diffuser towards the end of round number 3.
Well, we're already seeing a 3-point lead here from Dynamic. Definitely showing that at least on Bank, they're the stronger team. And I can't recall, but wasn't this Unbroken's pick?
If I remember correctly, it was.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. It
was Unbroken's pick.
Looks like they're not ready for these unconventional strats.
No, and the funny part is that Dynamic, it must be feeling pretty confident in their border play. Like I said earlier, one of their strongest maps, and they've already taken an outstanding lead right here. First contact will come towards Benji as he lurks inside of open area. He takes down the Ash of Alpaca just outside of one of the range of that cubicles, and will now look to try to get another. As you can see, Dynamic is stacked up there. Levrin, if he peeks the wrong way, will go down to the Bandit of Benji as well, but it looks like Benji might retreat as more pressure from Dynamic comes in through that window, and 9 sets the yokai up just above the Twitch of Levron by the printer room window. And they're going to need to try to find where Benji is. As you can see, he's still lurking not too far. Levron's going to try to open some of that wall up here and now open up some of the cubicles too as Benji plays the waiting game. And you see Mail just lies in wait just inside of that office as well. And some contact between Benji and Levron. Levron will get the best of him in that scenario. And they're doing a great job of burning time. We are almost halfway through the round. Levron going for the kill on Benji will drop Mail in the crossfire before Benji gets kill number 2. And he persists sitting in that open area. And now Rav will push him as Santa Fe looks to try to get Rav as well. Rav, of course, holding the diffuser at the moment. Will get dropped by Benji, and that's another big kill for him as Santa Fe gets hunted down by Incred. And Benji's going to look for yet another kill. He knows he has diffuser down with 1 minute and 10 seconds on the clock here. Will he be able to outpeak the Blackbeard? He won't. A great round for him comes to the end here abruptly as Incred wins that fight, and Bonzi tries to peek into the site. Arrow will get one of the remote gas grenades off, and now the 2 members of Dynamic, the Blackbeard and the Thermite, will reconvene upstairs with just under a minute to go. It is a 2v2 at the moment with 9 and Arrow still remaining. An Echo and a Smoke being your last 2 operators is about how it should be, and it's going to give them an advantage as that timer ticks down.
They're going for the hot drop.
And they get in, and a big push, and Arrow ends Bonsai with 1 shotgun blast. Incred still has the diffuser. He will move towards A, and 9 will finish him off. And Unbroken will find themselves on the board just soon enough. They didn't want to find themselves down in 0-4. And they managed to come back. It is still a 3-1 game in favor of Dynamic at the moment, though, and what an end to that round.
That was interesting. I like the way they basically kind of said, you know what, we'll keep our 2 site anchors, Echo and Smoke, downstairs, and we'll just play everyone else super aggressive. Now, they were betting a lot on the push coming in through open area when it actually had come through lobby the previous time. So I think they were kind of banking on them playing it differently, and it really paid off, especially due to Benji just playing such an aggressive yet smart play in those cubicles.
It's a and it really worked. You know, I that aggressive roaming play of Benji is really what gives them that ability. You know, if from what I have here, he took down 3, so a nice 3K for him to help his team persevere, and they really needed it. It couldn't have come at a better time because you don't want to find yourself down facing elimination heading into that 5th round for them. So now they're going to go to attack.
That was some of Dynamic's mistake in not properly droning open area, and now Paka basically throwing his face into Benji's bullets right at the beginning.
Yeah, and it's that the 1 kill they did get on Mailman was an unfortunate bout of crossfire. Levron, you can see, was holding down that printer room with the holes in the wall, trying to push Benji out of the cubicles. And as he was firing, that F2 is just so strong, it tore right through Mail as Mail's Valkyrie swooped in to try and give some, or take some pressure off of the Bandit of Benji. So
take pressure off.
It did take pressure off. I mean, and Benji was able to secure that kill on Levron shortly thereafter. So it was essentially a trade, but don't know if Mailman was intending for that to be the play on his part. For Dynamic now, they're going to look to try to win this round and put themselves within striking distance of winning Bank and go to their stronger map of border. What do you think we're about to see in this round?
I think we're seeing pretty much what I thought, which is them playing both teams playing things completely different every round. Despite the bomb sites being fairly similar, they're just playing these totally different defenses, totally different offenses. Like, for example, how much time Benji's spending on lobby right now is totally different than what they were doing before. But now they've got 3 people upstairs. Alpaca playing the same stockroom he did. I don't think they're going to dump their bodies into the stockroom the same way they did last time, because you see them actually putting effort into finding out where everyone's at. You see Arrow, for example, doing that, and then they've got Benji on the other side. They're going to try and pinch us out, but I don't see everyone really doing a lot of effort in doing that. Like, there should be like 5 people putting pressure on this, but you see some of them up on the roof kind of running around. I think they're going to burn maybe too much time trying to clear these 3 out up top.
And one thing I was told from Unbroken is that it's almost never that you'll see them run an IQ, and you can look at the top of your screen. You see Arrow up there. I don't know if this is just to counter the Valkyr or whatnot, but they are pulling it out. Kill number 1 will go to 9 as he drops Bonsai in the executive hallway just outside of that office, and that's 1 roamer down. They only have a minute and a half left, so they did waste a lot of time, but they've already taken 1 roamer down. Only 2 more to go, and that's another that'll drop. That's a big kill there from 9, and now Benji will also drop Alpaca. So every roamer down, 9 with a nice double kill there for them, and that will be currently a 5-2 in favor of Unbroken. You can see that C4 of Incred will go up in open area.
Close.
Not so close, but not close enough. Benji will get another, and that will just leave Rav for Dynamics. Looks like he'll drop arrows before getting flashed himself just inside of the admin office, and completely blind. Benji finishes him off, and Unbroken now getting onto the board last round. They'll pick up their 2nd round win, and it's a tighter game than it was 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, I got to give a lot of credit to 9. They were in a situation where they knew there was kind of roamers upstairs, but they didn't really know how to get that pinch started. They were doing some droning, trying to figure it out, trying to kind of coordinate that attack. And then 9 just comes in and picks up 2 of them. That seriously made a huge difference because he picked them up fast, you know, while they were still like trying to get the map control going on the top floor. Him getting those 2 kind of put pressure on that last one to either fight or bail. And then it just collapsed from there. And then the flashbangs, of course, to help at the end. It was a really good push started by 9 there.
It was a big round for the in-game leader. You could see that Benji was able to do well, and they're getting hot at the right time. And you know, it's funny because we said right before Unbroken won their first round, this was Unbroken's pick, expressing a bit of skepticism at why they went with it, and maybe it just took them a couple rounds to find their footing. But certainly their performance over the last 6 minutes of play has far exceeded what we saw in the first 9. So they're going to look to keep this up now, and they're going to run both that smoke and echo yet again. And I mean, it worked last time. Why not do it? Why not do it once more?
Yeah, this time it's a different bomb site, so I'm curious to see if that'll work out quite as well using them as site anchors. It's hard with Echo because like there's not as many safe places to sit because of the vertical play here. With Echo, you need a place for him to be able to kind of safely hide to get on that yokai, and I don't think there is that on this particular site unless he's going to hide out downstairs or something, which maybe he is doing right now. So that's a bit riskier, but I like that we're seeing our first fuse as well, so we could see that really come into play in terms of flushing them out of either the archives or the A site, assuming they can get top floor control.
I was going to comment on that. Bonzi running a fuse is great. We haven't seen a Jackal yet. We actually haven't seen a lot of smoke play much, and I don't mean the operator smoke. I just mean smoke play in general on any of these pushes here. No Monty, no Jackal. So it's nice to see a fuse come out, and of course he's going to be holding this diffuser. Santa Fe sits upstairs and is going to try to outpeak Incred just outside of the doorway there of the stock trading room.
And now
it's made its way in. He does manage to get the yokai on the ceiling as Santa Fe gets droned not once, but twice, now 3 times and 4 times. All of the drones converging on Santa Fe's Jaeger upstairs as he's panicking. And it's Drone Hunters 2017 that they're playing. And they've done a good job, though, of stalling them out. You can see here now Dynamic is still struggling to get inside of the building. We're just over a minute through this round.
This is our last round, though, to be fair. So if they can get that kind of push like 9 got started last time, then we could see this collapse quickly. But I don't know, that was a bit of a fluke last round.
Bonsai does make it inside of stocks as he gets a drone escort from Rav here, but he's going to look to take the drone out, but he manages to take the drone and also Santa Fe through the drone hole. So yeah, I mean, you just traded a drone for one of the players, and Incred will drop mail now as well. So Dynamic is looking to get their mojo back as they lead 5-3 before Benji eliminates Bonsai and gets a double kill. Big for him. Alpaca falls as well, and this bandit play of Benji has been ever present over the last 2 rounds and has kept his team in it thus far. It was a 5v3. It is now a 3v3 as Benji dropped 2 and is still looking to be hunted out with a minute on the clock. Rav holds on to the diffuser. That's the play of Thermite as he sits next to the Blackbeard upstairs in the hallway just outside of the CEO office. And they're going to have to go. 45 seconds on the clock, and with a smoke and an echo still in play for the defense, time is not on their side.
Yeah, should be interesting to see if they can pull this off. Oh, and
Another
Benji.
kill, a quad kill! That is a 4K for Benji so far this round. He drops Leverin and Rev. All he needs to do is drop Incredible, and that will be an ace for Benji. And wow, 25 seconds. He's going to look to get it. He gets a couple shots off. He'll get it! That's an ace for Benji. What a round for him. And Unbroken now draws even, and Benji 14-0-4. I'd say he's a good addition to Unbroken at the moment.
I'd say he's going to need to see a chiropractor. Charles is carrying.
I'd say strong shoulders and a lot of back workouts for him here as
A little more
unreal.
balanced on dynamic for sure. Like definitely without Benji here. I think if I was dynamic, I'd be saying, let's go ahead and kill Benji at the beginning and then we'll win the rounds, okay?
It's the concern is not droning out the roamers, it's droning out and killing Benji specifically.
Just identify him, get like 3 drones on him at once and attack.
And I can't wait to see the patch notes for Benji's nerf in the upcoming Operation Health update. So
yeah, they're just going to take away his utilities.
Attackers need to locate and defuse his
he's going to play shield recruit on defense, and I figured that's how they're going to fix him.
Sounds about right.
And sorry, my apologies, you go ahead.
I hope you'll 1 speed.
What was originally a stranglehold for Dynamic is now dead even at 3 apiece. It's astounding.
So, we'll see if Dynamic can kind of bring it back on the better bomb site now that they've like kind of played out some of their wacky stuff. They're going to go with something a little more standard. And it's unfortunate for them because like their kind of wacky stuff is what's been working, but maybe now they're kind of feeling like, okay, now we let them get back up to tie. Maybe now we need to play a little more standard, a little more structured, a little less crazy. Maybe Alpaca will strain himself a little bit, but probably not.
And you see Benji, the hot hand at the moment, will be running the Ash. So he'll move in now through the sewers and try to take out that server area. Mail will be his drone escort as he gets sight on A. You got to believe it. I would love to take a quick listen to Unbroken's team chat at the moment. And
it's probably saying, Benji, can you go ahead and kill everyone so we can come in and plant?
Just keep doing what you're doing at the moment, and just don't stop at any point. So
A bomb has been located.
Alpaca though being left free to roam up there, again that was a big problem for them before.
I think the big thing too is that you saw on the first 2 rounds how aggressive Dynamic were, and it worked for them. You've seen a lot more restraint at the moment, and Unbroken is playing like a team that has the wind at their sails, or the wind at their back at the moment. And Alpaca lurking upstairs is if they leave him be, well, it didn't work for them that last time when Unbroken just chose to ignore him.
I gotta hope the rest of Dynamic though are going to be able to hold them back and make this like burn up time, because he's already at half health and he's pushed back to sight. So that whole roam play not really paying off for them.
Then you can look and see that all 5 at the moment are firmly on site. So they've done a great job of taking all the roamers out of the play with 90 seconds into the round, 90 seconds left in the round. The first smoke will go down on Benji and Santa Fe getting kill number 1 of round number 7. He drops Alpaca before Santa Fe finds himself getting dropped by Rav. And that's a trade there. They sit at 4 apiece. The Bandit goes down and the Twitch goes down, respectively. And they'll blow the hatch upstairs in Tellers just over top of that vault. Looks like another smoke will now go down as Benji puts pressure on A. Those are some early smokes at the moment. And they still have that Breacher of Hibana available to blow that wall open. And as I say that, 9 eliminates Rav. Rav having a big kill there. And Leveron drops Mail too. So we are sitting at 3 apiece. Arrow very weak at the moment. And the confusion on 9 as he gets hit by that yokai before punishing it. That will push Bonsai off of his yokai drone, and he will look to get in closer to the site as we have 35 seconds to play in round number 7. Both teams at a stalemate of 3, and Benji, a big peek there. He drops Bonsai. 9 will eliminate Leveron before Benji himself, after a great 3 rounds, gets dropped, and 9 finishes it up. After Incredible drops Benji, 9 punishes him, and Unbroken takes their first lead.
Another 9 Benji combo there. Like both of them go and lit that round. It's weird the way Benji plays though when he's playing on attack for those lower sites, where he'll push up super aggressively at the beginning and then kind of stall out and wait for his teammates, which is definitely an odd way to play a 3-speed operator like that. Usually you're going to keep pushing and be the entry fragger, not the entry staller. But I mean, it's working okay for him. Last time he was stalling at the garage. This time stalling in servers. He's staying alive though, and that's probably what's most important. But it is kind of unconventional
Attackers need
play.
to locate and defuse bombs.
You wanted unconventional sights, but you're seeing unconventional play from operators. Is that does that tickle your fancy in that
Yeah.
in that way?
But it's always hard to see because we're not seeing it consistently in terms of like them doing the same kind of things on the same sites. It's hard to say whether or not that stuff will continue to work. It's like sometimes we're seeing one-off flukes and throwing the other teams off. But to be honest, it feels like sometimes we're watching more of a ranked game than a strat-heavy one between these two teams. But you did say before that they are both big about adaptation. So there is some of that mentality here in terms of trying to feel each other up. But with both teams constantly doing different things, not a lot of room to adapt to a specific strategy.
9 running the dock is going to be very interesting, and on top of this, let's just take a second to identify that what was 3-0 in favor of Dynamic, Unbroken has stormed back with 4 consecutive round wins and now looks to put it away on defense. And what originally looked like it was almost assuredly Dynamic's organizational skills winning them the map, Unbroken has basically snatched victory from the jaws of defeat, or at least at the moment. I might be speaking too soon because we could see overtime, but what a comeback from them so far.
I don't know. Alpaca's not droning the essential spots where everyone's hiding in the lobby, and he's the one who's going to run right in here now and get his face torn off, probably.
And just like that, Lebron does drop Santa Fe. Mail removes Alpaca from the fight, and Benji drops Incred. And at the moment, it is a 4-3 advantage, not just in score, but also in terms of operators.
I love that lobby ambush. That really worked out in their favor because the droning just was not there. Alpaca just too concerned with the hallway and not concerned with the rest of the lobby, the loan office and tellers. Just came back to bite him and his teammate.
This will definitely remove a bit of confidence that Dynamic had, and you can see them playing a bit more of a passive game now. They do have the 2 hard breachers of both Hibana and Thermite left. Rav will take down Mail and put them on even footing at 3 apiece. Benji lurks just nearby inside of that elevators. They will now push inside of Archives, and sitting in admin office, Rav looking to see if they can flush out that final roamer of Benji as he just sits and waits halfway through the round of what could be our final round here on Bank. And Benji is just going to sit and not really sure exactly what he's doing.
Oh, he's getting shocked, though.
He is getting shocked, and this is going to put a lot of pressure on him. They will not just ping, but also shock him as Lebron is taking a significant portion down before Rav does the cleanup. And that is the big carry of Unbroken does go down, and Dynamic now holds a 3-2 lead.
I do think this is highly possible now that we'll see this overtime, now that they took down Benji with the most unconventional of means, taking advantage of the fact that he trapped himself. Candidate himself, thinking he had a great realm spot.
And that Benji says that's pretty game breaking. I'm curious to know why he's saying that. Maybe he was stuck in that elevator. Rav will grab another kill this round, so a huge round for him. He drops 9, and as you can see, yeah, there Arrows was typing. He was indeed stuck. So a bit of a glitch in the matrix. Looks like it will actually cost Unbroken. This is Benji couldn't rotate back out of that elevator. Rav, an enormous play from him, and what an unfortunate set of circumstances for Unbroken to lose their carry at the moment in a play like that.
I still got to give credit to Lebron though for deciding to do that with a drone instead of his face. Instead of trying to contest Benji, who's been way better on the shots, he decides to contest him with a drone. That hey, if it dies, at least he's put some pressure on Benji and didn't lose his face in the process. So I still think that was a great call by him to do that, to put pressure on Benji, trapped or not. But obviously that is unfortunate for their big carry to get trapped in an elevator and sacrificed at the altar of drones.
Rav with a big 4K there, and it's now tightened up. We now see a 4v4, and yes, sacrificed at the altar of drones. A turn of phrase I really genuinely enjoy there. So
well, we'll see if he can do it again, as he is, because they went to overtime and sides are randomized, or I don't know, there's some algorithm, but it's basically like a coin flip. Lebron is back on attack now with that drone again.
And I know that Benji, who will stay on the Bandit, will probably try to avoid elevators, not just in-game, but also be triggered by them in real life, at least for the next couple days.
Yeah, that's a serious phobia he's going to have to watch out for.
People typically fear elevators because of the possibility of crashing, not of getting stuck in them in an unmoving elevator where the door is wide open. So we now see that Unbroken goes to defense here, and their streak of 4 does end. we move to overtime. So we see an overtime at least in one match. We'll see an overtime. I know you and I both want to see the Coastline overtime pick for the third map.
So they're playing a bit differently this time. Last time they played super aggressive in the lobby, punishing Alpaca for that. Now they're playing super aggressive back here. That did work for them previously. So I think it was their first point that they won was by playing super aggressive here and really holding them off in this open area. So if they can do that again, it may work out. Although it looks like Male rotating. He's got cameras in the lobby. He is going to see Alpaca push in. Alpaca better do a better job of droning this time. Maybe even check that teller office, because otherwise he's going to walk right into bullets in just a moment.
And you take a look at Benji and Santa Fe there. They were both holding down open area with 9's yokai drone there. So that was 3 members essentially of Unbroken, all committed to defending that one push through the back alleyway. First pick goes to Male as he jumps on top of Alpaca, and that will give some breathing room to Unbroken as they look to put this round away for themselves. They will be up by 5-4. The ash of Alpaca does fall. Just inside of that the front teller's office, and you can see Santa Fe still sitting inside of the cafeteria or the kitchen, and Male just waits patiently.
Yeah, I wonder if Incred's going to get this. I mean, he is kind of pinched in here. He has the camera, sure, but Incred has a face shield. I'm curious to see if this will work, especially getting shocked right there.
He gets a couple shots.
And of course, he loses that fight, but not before getting a little drunk.
Incred does win against Male, and unfortunate for him, as that yokai getting drunk comes a little too late. He was able to still pick up that pick there, and it'll put them on even footing as one of the roamers of Unbroken gets taken down. They have done a tremendous job tearing away at the clock, as there's only just over a minute remaining, and it is a 4v4. Thermite does hold on to that diffuser. Santa Fe still positioned with 9 upstairs, and are we going to see a very late retake from Unbroken after Dynamic scrambles to make a push?
Honestly, if they don't take out Santa Fe, I'm not favoring this attack working right now, because he's so close to being able to do something about it, to push him behind the stairs, because they're all focused right here. So not to mention that yokai drone doing some great work as well.
Excellent job by them. They flush out Bonzi exactly as they needed to, and Santa Fe is able to punish him as he retreats, being completely disoriented. Rav and Santa Fe will tussle, and 30 seconds left with diffuser down. That's big. Levrin will take Benji out of the game, and they need to grab that diffuser or play team deathmatch over the next 20 seconds, and Santa Fe will look to hold this angle as Incred's Blackbeard approaches him. He'll dive down at the right time, but get punished real hard by Incred as he grabs that diffuser. 10 seconds remaining. They'll need to get on site. Still, the smoke and echo remain. Levron gets downed on the site by 9, and it looks like they will be able to hold on as a flurry of action. Arrow and Rav picking up final kills as the round ends. Not on kills, but on time. And Unbroken will endure and go up by a score of 5-4 on Bank. And we see overtime. This is match point here. If Unbroken wins, game number 1 goes to them.
I got to give a lot of credit again on that to 9. Playing that Echo drone up there acted as an extra roamer that was helping the other roamers, not just with the drunkenness, but also with extra intel and being able to tell them when to push. For example, he was able to help Santa Fe push at just the right time and get that diffuser down, which was critical to them losing that attack, and then continuing to hit Levron with it downstairs. Like, just that was perfect Echo play, and that is what I would love to see that operator do more, because I am going to credit that to why they won. Sure, it didn't save Male's life. He tried. But it was still like, it was such aggressive play. Like, they take these aggressive operators, they throw their site guy downstairs, but the site guy's still acting upstairs without the risk of losing his life and the ability to back up to helping out the site. And I think that was great play, because usually you're going to see the Echo drone playing downstairs, helping out the smoke, trying to stall a server push, but instead he was just part of this super aggressive roam defense that really, really worked. And I applaud 9 for that for the second time today.
Right, and I mean, it left you the only cold or the only warm-blooded body that they did have downstairs was that smoke. You saw that there was the pick of Valk upstairs, as Male did sit inside of Tellers, and then you had Santa Fe as well as Benji sitting inside of open area with the yokai as backup. It did a really successful job of just letting that clock run down, and you can see Dynamic had to scramble there at the end, and when you leave the diffuser in the middle of open area with 20 seconds to go, and that big lumbering Blackbeard with his rifle shield on picks it up, you know that the defense must be feeling pretty good about themselves.
Yeah, they haven't switched to that Deagle just to try and make it downstairs. He was almost hoping that admin office hatch was open. Sadly, they had not opened it.
They didn't get to it in time.
I'm curious if Alpaca's going to get his head torn off right now playing this aggressive roam again, though. I think if he could play a really good Benji caliber roam, we could see this round going to them. But if he gets picked off early, it's just going to be kind of a repeat of what we saw from some of the other rounds that the Unbroken guys won.
With this being match point, I'm assuming that the team that loses the first fight is going to feel pretty discouraged. And with teams like this, it is as much a mental game as it is a mechanical game. And you can already see that they have gotten inside the building with 60 seconds off the clock as they inch their way towards that bomb site in A. Levron will get a smoke off just to block Benji as he picks away at the wall. And they've already opened it up, so they can get a plant, but after a bit of a push, they've stalled out, and now just wait. Alpaca will come down and drops Benji. That is a crucial kill as that takes them out, and now Incred drops 9 too. So Dynamic looking to keep themselves alive. Now Arrow eliminates Alpaca after a good play from him. He'll replace his rifle shield and now push in as Unbroken sits down by 1 at the moment, and Dynamic only having lost their bandit in Alpaca, but that's their in-game lead down now. And they'll look to try and get a plant off here in the next 75 seconds.
I'm really favoring Dynamic here. Having taken down Benji early like that, Alpaca did exactly what he needed to do and did his team a huge solid in making this work. Not to mention taking down 9 as well, their other clutch player. Sure, Mail's been decent, but overall, you lose Benji and 9, and this team just does not do all that great.
The stats speak for themselves at the moment. These are the 2 strongest members of the team, and a bit of a standoff here now with Arrow as he looks down the barrel of his gun into the site of B, trying to outpeak Incredible. Another smoke canister will go down to deny entry into that bomb site, as they only have 35 seconds to get inside, and it's going to be an absolute shooting gallery. As you can see, Dynamic has positioned themselves in a great set of spots to try to punish the members of Unbroken when they do finally get their way in, and just like that, Arrows gets dropped by Incred, and Bonsai gets the cleanup kill on Mail. A big round for Dynamic as we go to the overtime of overtimes. It is 5-5 on Bank.
Oh, it's great seeing the comeback here. I like to start off very strong for Dynamic, playing very aggressive and different. Then Unbroken found their stride playing very aggressive and different for 4 rounds in a row. Then Dynamic said, nah. And then Unbroken said, no, maybe. And then Dynamic said, nah. And so it's really come down to now, is this going to be like everyone playing super standard, or are we going to see some serious crazy play? We've got 9 on the Echo trying to defend Tellers again. So I'm curious to see if that's going to make a huge difference as we saw it make in previous rounds, or if they're going to be really quick on taking control of this top floor and taking out that yokai drone.
We have Dynamic running a fuse for the 2nd time, and didn't see a lot of success out of that pick last time around.
I think he played it a little aggressively, and that might have been what cost him, as he was pushing up and he got taken down by Benji. He needed someone else to be kind of leading the charge because he didn't get to use his cluster charges, and it's not something he can use until the floor is cleared, so he really needs to not be the point man.
I really just want to see a cluster charge kill. I mean, is that so hard for me to ask for? Like, is that too much? I just want to see one.
Maybe onto Benji. That would feel bad.
A fitting end to have your extraordinarily gifted top fragger at the moment get taken down by a rogue cluster charge. And a last bit of setting up here from Unbroken as Mail gets the last black eye off, and it's going to be quite a roam at the moment for Unbroken as they were out of it. They pulled themselves within 3, and then they were able to take a lead before a glitch in the Matrix cost Benji his life, and now in overtime.
Yeah, it should be interesting to see how this goes down, because they are definitely going to be a little more prepared for a lot more people upstairs this time, but Benji was kind of the linchpin of that again. So if they can just take Benji out of conference room, I think this could fall a lot faster, because he's the only one up there, it looks like, at the moment.
Yeah, it's at 9 right now, not sitting on his yokai drone. It is just Benji that is roaming. So they're playing a very conservative defense. They have enough confidence in him, and so far it is warranted. He has played exceptionally well so far this game, and he is getting droned out. Santa Fe will now move upstairs to join him, and you can see that 9's yokai is upstairs too. Alpaca starts the frenzy off by dropping Santa Fe, and this is Dynamic's advantage by a score of 5-4. So the roaming Jaeger of Santa Fe will go down, And Benji eliminates Alpaca, and that is big for them. That's a trade. They will be at 4 apiece, as a bit of a disorientation from Alpaca will cost him to run right into the fire of that bandit gun. Now Mail drops in cred before he himself gets eliminated by Levron, and it is trading left and right, 3-3 at the moment, as we are in the final round here of Bank. The winner of this round wins it all. That's it. This is it for us, the final round of overtime. And what was a brief bout of action will now cool off, at least for the moment, as you see the Fuse, Buck, and Hibana remain for Dynamic, as Smoke, Bandit, and Echo remain for the defense of Unbroken. It looks like that Yokai drone is able to get a hit off Dynamic now as he tries to poke away at 9 downstairs inside of Archives. Benji will now have to move as he got droned out by Bonsai. And you can see him just patrolling inside of the executive lounge. We'll move to the conference room and now assuredly into the hallway there. But will he be getting pushed out into the fire of somebody from Dynamic? Good drone from Bonsai. And now just moved back into the room that he was previously in. And we'll have the cover of 9's Yokai drone patrolling upstairs. 40 seconds remaining in round number 3 of overtime, the final round here of Bank. And you can see a peek around the corner. Benji will lose that gunfight. A big kill as the top performer of Unbroken gets dropped by Rav. He gets hit by a Yokai blast as he now hits the deck. 9 looks for the kill there and will be getting all of those marks from a great placed Valk Cam. Bonsai looks to work his way inside as we have 15 seconds to go. This is going to be the round here in front of us. Bonsai gets eliminated from 9. Great play from him so far. He gets taken out by Levron, and Levron gets another kill to finish the round, a double. Big play by Dynamic, and what was scary for them, seeing themselves facing elimination, they take game number 1 on Bank.
That was definitely a close one. 9 was doing some great work with Benji, working that top floor, catching that Yokai drone onto Alpaca right as he entered, gave Benji like a free kill. And again, that was that coordination of 9 on that Yokai drone, doing some great work, regardless of them winning or losing that round. I think 9 is someone to emulate in terms of how he uses that Echo, because I honestly haven't seen that good of Echo play from anyone previously. So I do hope to see that continue from him. It was unfortunate that they were not able to close out the win after bringing it all the way to 5. But I do think that came down to the wire there. Panicked amount of time, rushing into site, 2v2 straight at each other, just barely losing those gunfights. A nice drop shot by Levron, I think, really helped. And then, of course, the crossfire follow-up to that. So nicely done by Dynamic, but it was awesome.
We're just going to take a brief break here. You just witnessed Unbroken after clawing back from a 0-3 deficit and putting themselves within 1 of winning, falling in overtime. Dynamic getting the win on Bank by a score of 6-5. We are going to go to a brief break, and then we will come back with map number 2 on Border.
Never had a chance, and so tell me straight, I won't go. This is our time now, I'm sure. Make no mistake that we are closer than we're far. Embrace for impact, fight your fears far. Embrace for impact, I'm a future's engineer, and baby I'm here, I'm here, I'm here. And baby I'm here, I'm here. I've got a question, if you'd hear me out, in your defense, you never had a chance, and so tell me straight, I won't go, this is our time now, I'm sure, make no mistake, that we are close. I'm here. Brace for impact. Find your fifth spot. Brace for impact. I'm the future's engineer, and baby, I'm here. And baby, I'm here. Baby, I'm here.
All right. So this should be a good second map here. I believe we are going to be playing on Border now, so I'm expecting to see a lot of what we're used to on Border, but judging by Bank, we might see some interesting new ideas, whether they work or not.
We just watched a heck of a match here from Unbroken and Dynamic on Bank for number 1. Border just about to start in a moment, and yeah, although, like I said, the keyword that's going into this is adaptability. And we saw a strong push from Dynamic at the start. Unbroken caught back up. Then they took a lead, and Dynamic ended up persevering and grinding it out. How does this speak to the performances that we've seen so far, where a team such as Unbroken can push a team to overtime when they themselves have no strats against a team such as Dynamic that has an assembled roster, that knows exactly what they're doing and has strats for these maps, when Unbroken itself is almost newly formed with 3 brand new members for this match today?
I think we ended up seeing a lot of kind of balance in the end, but I think some of that was coming down to some mistakes from Dynamic and some really, really great play from Benji and Nine. I feel like if they could disable Benji and Nine, Dynamic, if they could drone a bit better as well for Alpaca, those things would have clearly put Dynamic ahead here. However, that being said, Benji and Nine have been doing a great job working together and really kind of punishing Dynamic for any mistakes that they make or any oversights. Not that Alpaca hasn't sometimes done the same to them on his roam game. So I think both teams are being adaptable, as you say, and really trying to take advantage of any little holes they see in what the other team's doing wrong and exploiting that. And both teams playing incredibly inconsistent in their strategies has really made this swing so heavily back and forth because neither team knows what to expect. One side, attack they go in one side, the other they go in the other. There seems to be ambushes ready for both. Maybe they're just watching where their drones end up.
And you got to think. You spoke about disabling both Nine and Benji. They combined for 26 kills between the two of them in one game. Now, a bulk of that was Benji. He did have 17 and was by far and away the top fragger that game. There were only 4 people in that match that got into double digits. 3 of them were on Dynamic. Benji was the other one, and they're going to need a performance like that if they want to be able to close the gap that they have with Dynamic.
Now, this is Dynamic's map, though, so having one, just barely, but having one Unbroken's map is going to put them pretty confident on this one. So we're going to need to see Benji and Nine really working together again, stepping it up. Perhaps Santa stepping it up as well would be great. Obviously, we've seen some okay play from Mail Just really not a whole lot from Arrow, though. Like, I feel like he's just kind of been, I don't know if he's just kind of their anchor at this point or what, but I just really haven't seen anything stand out from him.
He is the one member of the team that, to the best of my knowledge and from what I was able to determine from them when I spoke with them earlier, he is the one member of the team that really doesn't have any like semi-professional experience. You know, when I was hearing about Santa and Benji being added, you know, it's, you know, their performance from both you know, Ferocity and Honor Among Thieves respectively. But Arrow didn't,
Challenger League too.
Right, and Arrow, from what I was told, Arrow didn't have any of that. So he's coming into this in a situation where not only is this a test for the team, but also potentially a test to play consistently at this level and perform at the level that a team expects of you.
Now, I have seen some great play from Santa on this particular map previously, so I am expecting good things from him. I'm not sure about Benji, but maybe this will be where Santa really steps up and kind of carries to the level that Nine and Benji have been doing, but it's hard to say. I mean, I know that he has the experience to know this map inside and out at this point, and I would think that would factor in. But I do think the Dynamic guys also know this map quite well. So if they can continue to play as aggressive and drone, again, like I said, for Alpaca here properly, I think we could see this really go back and forth yet again.
Right, and Dynamic, like we spoke about earlier, Dynamic does have a great degree of expertise and strats on this. They are very confident on their border play. As close as that was, and I'll interrupt myself for a second here, Santa gets kill number one. As we were actually praising Dynamic's play, he drops Levron from below and now looks to tussle with Incredible, and he'll need to drop down and crawl his way back into the objective of Armory as he takes some significant damage. And Dynamic needs to win this map for their confidence, I feel, because if you're going to call this one of your best maps, you got to actually stand up and prove it. And for a team such as Unbroken to do that, we talk a lot about momentum heading to Coastline, which is going to be, I think, a coin flip between the two of them. Unbroken is going to feel buoyed by their performance.
Well, definitely a good start, though, taking out the Thatcher, but then losing that Jaeger after all. It's kind of a little bit back and forth, but Jaeger's already done his job, whereas Thatcher didn't really get a chance to necessarily, and I think that could hurt their office push that they're trying to make. So Alpaca's going to have to be the one to kind of break their defense here. He's off to a good start, at least.
And they've got two hard breachers. They have both the Hibana and the Thermite. They're losing that utility of the EMP grenades, especially against a team that is obviously running a bandit. And you saw Benji had put down his bandit charges earlier. That's tough. You lose that utility right off the bat, and that was a crucial pick for them there on defense at the moment. And right now we do stand at a 4-4. Just a minute left to go. Santa is down, and Levron is down, and you see a bit of a slower push now. That mirror window causing them some difficulty at the end of the hallway for Dynamic, as they're going to try to just get their way through those destructible walls. Like I said, they do have that double breaching power, but Benji grabs one for his team, drops Bonsai. You see Alpaca goes down as well, but he's down but not out. That will leave just Rav and Incredible upright. So that will essentially be a 4v2, though they can still get Alpaca, and you'll see that Rav will do that. Alpaca does get to his feet. Benji taking some significant damage, and 20 seconds to go, and Cred finds himself outside. Just on top of that customs roof, and will need to get his way in. Alpaca does drop Benji, and Cred gets another one here. That's as big for them. That will leave Arrows and Mail remaining as 9 goes down. And Alpaca gets another, this time on Arrow. It is now Mail versus Rav and Incred, so only one up for Unbroken at the moment. And that diffuser is still down. It's ticking away, and Mail has to outpeak Rav. You can see a Jiggle Peek loses the fight, and Rav drops him for Dynamic to take round number 1.
I liked Mail's attempt at a peek there, but yeah, he wasn't quite on the follow-up.
That was a that was risky. That was risky, and it would have been a heck of a show for us. It was great to see it from his perspective as well, and Dynamic off to a 1-0 lead at the moment.
Some of that was also down to them getting Alpaca back up, because then he was able to get another kill and kind of disrupt the last of the defense and put them in a good position to just fight Mail. So it's good on them and being able to get Alpaca back up, him not getting finished off. But it was definitely getting a bit crazy towards the end there for sure.
Alpaca immediately got a kill too. I think he'd been on his feet for maybe 4 to 5 seconds before he was able to punish one of the defenders of Unbroken. And yeah, you saw Incredible was a man on an island standing outside just waiting, and they were able to swing that, and Dynamic persevered.
Well, it was definitely close though, so I know that seems like they have a decent defense on the Unbroken side. So the question is, how is the defense here for Dynamic on the same site? It looks like they're going for kind of a similar setup here, except for they may or may not set up the window in the same place. Looks like it's roughly the same though, but they've got a hole next to it to crawl in and out of, which is interesting.
5 seconds to go.
And Dynamic had originally told me that one of their most played operators is Castle. I think we've only seen them drop a Castle twice so far.
Yeah, it's not been played. I don't even remember seeing it the one time. So it's definitely been not so much what we were expecting in terms of operator picks for that.
I believe they had it. I believe they ran it in their first defense and their third defense, if I recall correctly. And then that was about it. You know, you didn't see a lot of use from those rotation holes that they can be created with those impact grenades. And the castle barricades really didn't seem to do much to slow down Unbroken as much as you suspect. See the double breachers here again, but no Thatcher being run by Unbroken, just going with a buck, and so probably gonna go for the buck underneath to take out all those gadgets that they need to get at and get into the site.
I would say that the Thatcher, if they're going to attack the opposite side, the Thatcher's really important for giving Habana a chance to open up the windows. But I don't know if they're really going for that attack. Looks like they're going for more of a standard A attack. So.
And just from below, they will open that up. You see Benji able to blow a hole just next to that reinforced hatch as he sits and watches the hatch that Dynamic and Alpaca guard from above. And Rav now needs to push in. First kill goes to Levron here. He was the first one eliminated in round number 1. Will get his revenge by getting kill number 1. He'll drop Arrow from play, and Blackbeard falling with a minute and a half to go. That's big. Both hard breachers still up at the moment for Unbroken. Both the Thermite and the Hibana. You see Hibana just hold on to that diffuser, and they'll blow open that wall. And Cred will dive below to not get picked off through that narrow open doorway as 9 gazes inward towards the objective and has both A and B in his sight. Alpaca now eliminates Santa, and this is boding very well at the moment for the defense of Dynamic as they sit up 5-3. You lose your Buck and your Blackbeard with a minute to go, and just the Ash, Thermite, and Hibana remaining on attack. All defenders still up at the moment.
Yeah, there's a lot of pressure lost here by not having that Blackbeard on that window anymore. That's kind of a linchpin, as we saw in Cred on it last time. Now not having that, and not having the Beck to be able to put pressure from below, they've lost a lot of their angles of pressure. They're now going to be forced to just kind of get into gunfights, as the Cred does right there.
And Dynamic gets 2 kills, very quick succession, both in Cred and Rav dropping all members. Only 9 now stays upright at the moment. Look to set down a Claymore there, and Dynamic in great position at the moment. The only one they have lost is Alpaca as Bandit, which 9 just took down. 30 seconds left. Both Rav and 9 will find each other through one of the Mira windows, and now 9 will make his way into the site. You can see that Incred and Levron are ready to pounce on him. He will need to get that diffuser down. Will jump over top and literally land on top of Levron, who gets the final kill of the round, the first and last kill for his team. Big round by Levron, and Dynamic will jump out to a 2-0 lead.
Not sure if 9 realizes he's not a Mario Brothers and you can't just stomp him to death. But that was definitely a good, solid defense. They defended even better than they attacked on that bomb site. So this is so far looking like Dynamic's map. But we said that last map when they came out 3-0 swinging, and then eventually had to do a bit of work to get that back and eventually win. But I'm still favoring Dynamic so far.
We've seen some good performances here by Dynamic as a whole, as a team, and it seems like the rounds that Dynamic performs the best on are when they only lose 1-2. Now, whether that's a testament to their ability sorry, let me cut myself off here. We see a recruit pick for the first time today.
Definitely an odd choice. Not sure. I mean, usually that's kind of for a barbed wire C4 sort of thing, or just a mistake.
Gonna be interesting to see unfold.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I guess for the extra nades, it definitely seems like a mistake though.
It could have just been a misclick. I mean, we're about to find out if he's actually active in game or what the reasoning behind that was. But a recruit on attack, so not even on defense. So it's not like they deprived themselves of one of those reinforcements to run something like a barbed wire or a nitro cell or anything like that. So you see, his parents were yelling at him. So there you go. There's your answer.
You're like, I'm defending border or attacking border. Leave me alone.
Keys to success for Unbroken on this round to put themselves back on the board.
Yeah, so I think maybe Unbroken strat is to get the parents to yell at all of Dynamic. See if they can make that work.
We've seen a big performance from 9, but if the scoreboard was just flashed there. There's only 4 killed at the moment for Unbroken, and they are spread evenly. Arrow is the only one without a kill at the moment for his team. So that means that both Benji and 9, who you can say that it was a team effort, but let's not get carried away. A combined 26 kills is a Herculean effort for them. They at the moment are ice cold with 2 kills, combined.
They're going to need to heat up. Why they're getting 2-0'd at the moment.
And it was also explaining why they were getting 3-0'd before coming alive at just the right time.
So Benji's gonna need to go ahead and toggle on.
so he can see it. That recruit is paying off. Levron gets kill number 1. What a play by the recruit as he takes Arrow out of the 3rd round.
He's like a recruit sledge right now.
It's a he's got that SMG-11. He's got the L85. That's big for his team, and already Unbroken will find themselves down 1, losing their Mira in the first minute of the round, and everybody's still alive at the moment. Mail will find himself getting pushed by this drone, and Incred manages to get in and trade with Mail, so they are both down but not out. You could figure that the defense should be able to get in there. Alpaca will finish 9 off, and now Benji takes Incred down, and 9 down, but Benji's still upright. You can see Mail is still up above, and they're going to hope to get him on his feet. If not, they will find themselves in a 2v4 hole, as Alpaca will now circle around. You can see Mail slowly crawling his way towards the defense, trying to get to Santa. Well, I've been instructed not to say Santa Fe, even though that is his name. I am told to just say Santa. So I will amend that in the future.
I probably won't.
And you just see Mail does finally bleed out there, though Santa is able to punish Alpaca, and that leaves just Benji and Santa alive for the defense. It is a 3v2 in favor at the moment of Dynamic. The recruit is still up, so Levron still providing that little bit of a juice for his team, and Benji and Santa Fe now will both guard the site. I'm going to keep saying Santa Fe. That's his full name.
That's what he gets.
Santa Fe gets dropped by Rav. That's another kill for him. So a big round so far by Rav, and Benji is the last man alive. Does he not see the recruit there? Levron was prone right next to him, and Benji drops Rav and Levron with a shot and a knife. I can't believe he didn't see Levron just prone on the ground. This will leave a heads-up fight between Benji at the moment and Bonzi. And Bonzi does hold the diffuser. 15 seconds left, and Benji will just sit by A, knowing that there is likely nobody by A. He will now sit and stare at B, and Bonzi will need to make his way in the site. He will get tagged by that Valkyrie cam, and now as he works his way in, Bonzi wins the gunfight and drops Benji, and for the 2nd game in a row, Dynamic finds themselves up 3-0.
Yes, I'm really surprised Benji lost that fight. Even he's impressed.
That was a great shot. Was it a drop shot that we saw from Bonzi is the question.
Yeah, I think he knew he was there too, because he tried to wallbang it first, like knowing that he's going to be hanging out right there, and came around the corner like pretty much pre-firing, knowing that he was there. And I think that's why he won, is due to that knowledge of where he was at, or at least guessing. Not sure for sure if he knew, but that's why he won that fight. But that fight, Levron just laying there too, and then getting the kill, then turning around and just sniping Levron's got to feel bad.
I couldn't believe he didn't see him. Like, he was on his screen for like almost a whole second.
I think he just said, you know what, he's facing the other direction. Let me kill this other guy real quick. BRB.
And then the moment he popped up, just a knife to the chest and a nice easy double kill. Benji making it look like he's just pub stomping around in casual with those 2 kills there. And the other thing too to keep in mind with that thermite kill was Benji was almost at half of his life. So he had taken some damage. So it really only needed 1 or 2 bullets from that close of proximity for the thermite of Bonzi to get the kill too.
Yeah, definitely. Like, had they traded equal shots, obviously thermite would have won that. So the MP7 I think does maybe slightly less damage as well. So that could also factor in.
Yeah, Thermite's gun does since the retooling, easier to control recoil, and it's I think it would probably win it if you were able to land all your shots there, doing a little bit more DPS. But we had said that we hadn't seen a castle in quite a while, and take a look at our screen.
Well, the Rav could make this happen here. Again, they just don't seem to do anything consistently between any rounds on either team, and I think that's definitely at least made it interesting to watch, if nothing else.
You see one rotation hole will go in. All of his armor panels are up. Round goes underway. Nothing too out of the ordinary with either of these compositions at the moment.
No, this is definitely more of a standard use of Castle on this map, is having him play to help set up that bathroom defense, as well as the rotate hole, and then some other castles, kind of close things off a little bit, make the workshop a little more secure so that the guys up top can focus on what they're doing.
And you do see, it does appear that the mirror is above. So Incredible will hang out upstairs along with Alpaca and Levron. And so that's a 3-roam defense. And they'll just leave the Castle and Bonzi on site now. Rav did get droned out. And you can see that the first kill goes to Santa Fe. He takes Bonzi down, and another kill, a big double kill from Santa Fe. He takes Rav down. Will he get a 30? Will. Incred drops right into the line of fire for Santa Fe, and now that will leave Alpaca upstairs. He takes Benji down. Santa Fe gets a quad kill. He drops Levron, and now the only one left is Alpaca. Santa Fe, can we see a second ace in 2 games?
I love that he just walked into sight and said, hold on, I'm going to go ahead and kill everyone real quick.
You can see the diffuser does go down. Alpaca able to take Arrow out of the fight, and he's the last one left, standing in between Santa Fe and the ace. You see they do tussle. Santa Fe takes some serious damage, as does Alpaca. It looks like he's going to try to drop 9, but 9 denies the ace. And just like that, attackers win round number 4.
Aw, wow. 9 stole his ace.
And
feels bad.
Unlucky is the way to go, and just like that, we now move to round number 5, and Unbroken finally find themselves on the board.
Well, that was definitely close, though, but I think that was all down to Santa Fe finally showing up. That's what I was saying, though, before, that I feel like this is more of Santa's map than Bank is. And I think we're seeing that. We saw it on the first round. We're seeing it on that round. Yeah, maybe Benji and 9 aren't showing up, but if they could show up as well as Santa has been, I think it's definitely a chance that Unbroken could make a comeback. But being 3-1 does look familiar to them. So will we see the 4 round in a row comeback? Probably not, but you never know.
I mean, we're not going to see it with that attitude, that's for certain. And speaking to the testament of the Unbroken player stats, if you're to really pour into the nitty-gritty of how each player has done, there has been no more consistent a player on that team than 9 at the moment. He leads his team with double the amount of kills of the next closest member of the team. He sits at going into this game, he had 100 kills. Next closest is Mailman, 47. Now, you could say that it's because they've juggled their roster. There is quite a large number of players that have played for Unbroken, and they've added 3 more right now. But 9 is the definition of consistency. If they can't find something out of him here, that does not bode well.
5 seconds to go.
Yeah, I definitely think a lot of what he did was teamwork, but he also played some great frags himself. But I think maybe him and Benji don't have the same dynamic here that they had on Bank. Some of that was down to him playing that good Echo drone, too, which they're not doing on this map.
It also took them a while to warm up too, so it could just be simply that we're seeing a slow starter. Maybe Benji will have gifted his skills over to Santa Fe, and we'll see another beast mode performance from him. Now they're going to need it, as they are currently down by a score of 1-3. If Dynamic does win this, they will be 1 within of eliminating Unbroken from these matches, and we will not see Coastline. I know everybody here, including all the viewers on Twitch, they want to see Coastline. First kill, though, does go to Incredible. He'll pick up a double. Both Benji and 9, the 2 carries from last game, get dropped. And now Alpaca finds his way in. You're going to see a flash over top of that wall. And this is a good position for Dynamic at the moment. Arrows will watch and survey Dynamic's push. You can see, he can't see those blue outlines, or at least we don't think he can. And you can see all 5 of them directly in front of him. He'll try to exchange gunfire with Incred using that wall. And Alpaca will now get dropped as Mail pushes him from that the CCTV room. You'll see the Nitro cell go out. It will get absolutely nothing. And Mail, after taking some damage at the early start of the round, gets a couple more shots in. And now Mail will need to retreat with just a sliver of blinking health in the top right-hand corner. Dynamic has Alpaca down. We'll need to try to get him, though. Mail will watch and provide pressure from the inside of the CCTV room, and Alpaca will get back up.
Well, that's not good.
Not at all. With Mail on the verge of death here, only Arrow and Santa Fe are at full health, and right as I said that, Santa will take some damage too. A great view from Arrow here, as we can really see the attack unfolding in front of us. They are going to push heavily into B. Alpaca drops Santa Fe. This is exactly what we saw last time. Alpaca got on his feet and was able to get a kill. Mail gets dropped by Rav, and it's just Arrow remaining, who will try to use that shield and security of that mirror window to keep himself alive, but it is a 5v1 at the moment in favor of Dynamic. They do get the diffuser down, and Rav gets kill number 2 of the round. He cleans up on Arrow, and Dynamic within 1 round of taking border. What is going on with Unbroken, and what can they do to right this ship before it's too late?
I don't know. I mean, I thought for sure Arrow was going to clutch that 1v5. Like, if anyone was going to, it was going to be him. But it just didn't happen. And I think that was a very solid attack. That time, when they went to attack on offices, they didn't lose Levron at the beginning. So they had the Thatcher. Not that that was critical. Those 2 kills at the beginning from Incred pretty much did everything right there. Taking out Benji and 9 right at the beginning. That's how you start a successful attack on Unbroken. Unfortunately, I don't think they're really getting their stride up. Like, in terms of like we said, Benji and 9 just aren't doing what they did on Bank. And obviously you can see if the carry's not there, then Santa can't do it all himself, although he tried that 1 round.
I didn't take a screenshot, unfortunately. I really should have. But if you exclude 9 and Benji's kills from the last game, I believe there was a combined 9 or 8 kills between the bottom 3 fraggers. That plays in exactly to what you're saying about if the carry needs to be there. And both Benji and 9 were the very first 2 casualties for their team last round. So when you're losing, what we've seen is 9 is the most consistent player, at least. And Benji, coming off such a hot performance, having them both go down, not just one of them go down, but both of them going down in the first 40 seconds of action, that puts you in a rough shape.
5 seconds remaining.
Well, we'll see if they can make any kind of comeback, as they're on match point now. And this could very quickly turn into Dynamic's victory. As yeah, things got a little rough last time on last map after a strong start, but it looks like Dynamic were more than ready to stop that comeback from happening. And all they got to do is win 1 more round out of the next 3.
And that's not hard to do, but as we saw last time around, not impossible either. Levron picks Arrow up, and Incred gets Benji down, and already Dynamic in a commanding position, up by a score of 5v3. They look to put this away. Santa Fe, Male, and 9 remaining. 9 will get a kill on Alpaca. He drops him with a beautiful headshot from his firearm just outside of the east stairs, and we'll look down that long hallway. Now Santa Fe as Twitch and Male still up as Buck.
The Fuse are just chilling down too. Not a great place for it to be. Male's gonna have to pick that back up.
And 9 gets another here. That's his 2nd kill of the round. Really big, and we talked about 9 needing to have a big performance by eliminating the Valk of Levron. They put themselves at a 3-3. They will need to grab that diffuser. It is downstairs. You can see Male has taken some damage, as has 9 at the moment. Bonzi, the only one that is not at full health for the defense. So for the defense, that mirror and smoke still available. 9 will now jump outside right into a hail of gunfire as Male drops Rav. That powerful Buck rifle ripping right through Rav, and 9 will get picked up from the loving hands of Male's Twitch. And now they've actually found themselves in an advantage. They do have a numbers advantage of 1. Bonzi sitting on site with Incred. They are both looking at similar angles. Male from below is going to be the real question mark. Will he be able to buck through the floor and potentially get one? 9, another kill. Big for him. He drops Incred. And what a round for 9 as he has come alive. Male gets his 2nd kill of the round, and this was the Male and 9 show. Unbroken will stay alive.
9 finally coming alive. That's what we needed to see. Now, if Benji could do the same, there could be a comeback. Definitely a strong performance from him. I mean, it's nice to see Male stepping it up as well. Good work with his teammate there, trying to fight that off. That was not an easy fight to win at that point. They'd lost a lot of their good firepower early on, and were able to still make a push happen due to some good angle usage, even Rav complementing the angle.
The 2 members, the 2 consistent members of Unbroken in both Male and 9 had big rounds, and they were able to stave off elimination just now. But as you said last time, they only need to win 1 of 3 rounds for Dynamic to take this. They're going to move to offense, and they've only lost on defense so far. So Dynamic is undefeated on offense. It was the 2 defensive rounds that they lost. You saw that they rolled the die with Castle. They lost that round. They just rolled the die now with a more conventional, or they played safe with a more conventional composition, and still lost. So
I don't think we've seen them attack this bomb site though, because that's the first time that Unbroken have won the defense upstairs. This is their first time going downstairs. This is the much harder bomb site to defend. So this could really be an easy win for them unless they mess it up and lose too many people upstairs. Last time on the attack from Unbroken side though, Santa Fe just walked into site and killed 4 from like the door to site pretty much. So question is, could Dynamic repeat that kind of performance?
10 seconds left.
They're hoping that Santa Fe, or they're hoping that one of their members can do that. Santa Fe is going to hopefully have a big round here now on defense, and we talked about Dynamic rolling the castle, and it looks like Unbroken is going to go with the pick as Male plays castle. I think this is the first time we're seeing him play it.
Yeah, like I said, that's the more standard use of castles on this particular bomb site. I feel like it's one that just kind of everyone does, and there's not usually a reason to change it up too much. So this is where we're seeing our castle plays.
Right off the hop, look at the defense here. They're running both a castle and an echo. They will eschew the pick of smoke, but stay with Mira, Bandit, and Jaeger. On attack, we will still see the double breachers now, and Dynamic having a really gun-happy team with Blackbeard, Buck, and Ash. They can blow everything apart.
Well, we've finally got Echo on, or 9 on Echo, so this could be his chance now after a good performance last round. If he can, work with Benji if he plays on that Bandit, we could see their bank performance come back here, as you're already starting to see the beginning of it on Alpaca here.
He does get disoriented or drunk, as the colloquialism is for this game, and he will now need to try to find the safety of his teammates, because we have seen a great job of Unbroken take advantage of those disorientation bursts. Almost every time that they have hit somebody with a yokai, it has resulted in a kill for Unbroken within a very short period of time afterwards. This is being the lone exception, though. It does happen earlier on in the round, and you can see that Benji just sits and guards right by the armory and lockers, that open doorway into security or CCTV, and will now look to run outside, changes his mind, and goes back indoors.
The important thing is, on Bank, I think they had Benji a little easier or more ready to follow up those Echo kills, but not as much on here. And losing Santa early is unfortunate as well.
And yes, Levron there gets another kill. I think this is his third round where he has gotten the first kill, so big for him. He did it as the recruit as well, and that was a great thing to see. He does sustain some damage in that fight. Alpaca and Benji will spot one another, and that is a Bandit grudge match if I've ever seen one. Now Rav gets one kill, Alpaca gets another, and this is not good shape for Unbroken. Male and Benji both go down. That will leave Arrows and 9 up as Dynamic looks to close in. You can see the sidearm there of 9 does get pulled out as he sits inside of Server. He gets picked off by Incred, and Arrows will need to clutch ace this round, but doesn't do it. Alpaca finishes it off, an extraordinary round by Dynamic, and that will be our 2 matches for the day. By a score of 5-2, Dynamic will take it, and what an end to game number 2 on Border.
I think overall, Dynamic did show to be the stronger team because they just weren't as dependent on certain players. You saw Alpaca's a great fragger, but he'd get picked off early, they'd still win the round because other people like Levron would step up and do a great job. And I think a good spread. I mean, Bonzi, not so much the carry, but we saw some great rounds from him occasionally. Same with Incred, especially on this map. I feel like this was a bit more of Incred's map than Bank was. And overall, some great performance across the whole team. I do hope that the guys on Unbroken can kind of shape it up in terms of making sure that some of their other players are able to kind of hold their own a little bit more, or perhaps on certain maps. And maybe that'll mean just some operator changes. Obviously, one operator that I wouldn't change is 9 playing on Echo. Even when it doesn't result in a kill, I think he's still, again, one of the best Echo players I've seen.
Great plays all across the board from them. We saw some really clutch plays from 9 and Benji with an ace, which is only the 3rd time that we've seen that in CCS history. So excellent job for them. The one story for me is we talked about adaptability, and we saw that on the map that Unbroken had chosen, they were able to close that gap and go to a overtime against them. On the map that Dynamic calls one of their best maps, it was an utterly dominating performance. You had the one round that was carried solely by Santa Fe, the rest 9 and Mailman. But the story for me, the one member that was new to the scene, Arrow, getting a 0 kills on that second map and only a couple on the first map. So maybe some operator switches like you said, or maybe just simply changing his positioning in this map. Or on this
definitely
team,
not been great performance from him. I mean, I don't necessarily like to call people out for not being able to do it, but I think maybe he just isn't playing, like you said, the right operators or the right positions, because it's just not really working out, which is unfortunate. But, the experience of the other players does seem to shine through in terms of how much that experience carries off with like Santa and Benji.
Yeah, and it's I think they've done a great job with their pickups now, and Unbroken, unfortunately, failing to get it. But another story, Dynamic actually gets their very first win as a team. So big for them. This is their first win. They did come in, they did inherit Mystic's record, as I spoke of earlier. They came in 3-2, 2 losses to Nerva and Ferocity. So this is the very first win for Dynamic as a team. So congratulations to them, and a great job to both teams.
Definitely. And one of these days, I will see a third map.
One of these days. Maybe in the next map. Thank you so much to everybody who tuned in. We are going to go on a bit of a break. My name is Interrobang. Thank you, Emzo, for casting with me here.
Good times.
Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you soon.